Every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy specializes in a customized designed academic approach tailored to meet the needs of our families. Our lower division prepares students with the necessary foundation to build excellence. Our middle division provides students with over 15 course offerings, providing them with opportunities to explore their talents and gifts. Our upper division provides personalized academic journeys, allowing them to achieve their dreams. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us, where every path leads to purpose.
National headlines and the local stories you care about. WLBB, Carrollton, News Talk, 1330, FM 106.3.
Good morning. Welcome to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Graddick, your host. Delighted to have you with us. This is New Year. Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a great Christmas, great New Year, and let's kick it off for 2026. Couldn't think of a better way to kick it off with Jutt Howard, State Rep from District 71. Good morning, Jutt.
Good morning, Steve. Thank you for having me, and Happy New Year to everybody as well.
I always start out with a bio. I know people are not that too terribly crazy about bios, but I like them. And so let's go down. Local businessman Jutt Howard has proudly been a resident of Carroll County since his early childhood. Growing up in Sand Hill, his father served as the minister of Bethany Christian Church. Where is that?
That's right in, if you're familiar with the triangle, if you're going out north towards Villa Rica, just past the triangle on the left.
Oh, okay. Got it. And his mother worked as a teacher for the Carroll County school system. Jutt is a graduate of Central High School, Go Lions, and earned his marketing degree from the University of West Georgia, Go Wolves, all while running his own landscape business during college. Today, Jutt is the Vice President of Business Operations at NG Turf, bringing over 20 years of agricultural experience to his role. He also formerly served as president of the board of directors of the Georgia Crop Improvement Association, helping to strengthen Georgia's agricultural sector and ensuring farmers have access to top quality resources. He's married, I believe. Wife is Natalie.
And got two children. Wyatt's 12 and Nellie's 8.
And just to complete this, he serves on the following committees: House Agricultural and Consumer Affairs Committee, House Interstate Cooperation Committee, and House Natural Resources and Environment Committees. Serving in House District 71, which is like east part of Carroll County, is that right?
It is. If you basically take a line through the square in downtown Carrollton, go out up 113 towards Temple, and come back out on part of Carrollton out towards towards Lake Seton, and then back up the county line towards Villa Rica. So I cover Carrollton, Villa Rica, and Temple. Yeah,
formerly served by the Honorable Jay Collins, correct?
I've got big shoes to fill, that's for sure. So.
Okay, I'll let that one go by. Anyway, very good. Tell us, Joe, open-end question to get started. What kind of, I hate asking this question because everybody says, well, I don't know. Nobody knows. What's the 2026 session going to be like?
I think it's going to be interesting. We have a lot of current legislators, primarily in the Senate, who are running for higher office. I think there are 3 or 4 senators now in the race for lieutenant governor and 1 state rep. So a lot of that will make the session really interesting. With I don't foresee a lot of really, really, really tough contested legislation going through most years and election years, and especially this year in particular. I don't think we'll see a lot of really, really tight votes that will happen. But I think there's still very important legislation that's going to come up and be dealt with. But it will be an interesting year for sure with the 26 elections for governor and lieutenant governor, and down the line going to have a big impact on the session.
So that means they will be posturing for the camera.
That is right. It will be selling the voters on your legislation. So.
Let's jump in. I think last year, bring us up to date. School safety, I think we allocated $50,000 per school per year for school safety.
Yes, that was an additional $60,000 a year to each school.
60, okay.
And primarily going to not only school resource officers. Here in Carroll County, we're blessed with the partnership between local city law enforcement agencies and the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, who partners with our school systems to allow school resource officers to be in those schools. The law enforcement agencies share a cost of that, and then the school boards allocate part of their budget to go to that as well. So this not only helps give them some additional funds to that. I know Carroll County Schools is committed to trying to have at least one school resource officer in every school, but it also gives them funds for other things that are relative to school safety, be it monitoring systems that will help aid in locked doors in a panic situation, a panic button, if you will, and other security features, cameras, all of those type devices that the school systems can continue to update our buildings. So as parents, we can all get up and drop our kids off and go to work and come home and expect our kids come home safe. And so I think that was the number one priority of us at the legislature last year.
I had someone ask me, I don't know if it's ever been mentioned, and we advertise, it's called the burner launcher. It's a non-lethal kind of device. Has it ever been mentioned about putting a non-lethal device like that in the hand of teachers?
I think when you discuss non-lethal or even lethal weapons, I think the abilities there, it's more of a local school choice on what they want to allow. If they want to, allow personnel to carry or have access to those non-lethal weapons. So.
Yeah, I think there's only 2 systems in Georgia where some teachers are allowed to have weapons.
Right.
I want to ask about this because I think everybody's starting to see how important as generations kind of come and go. But give us the understand July 1st, basically smartphones, internet connected smartphones are going to be prohibited during school hours. Is that correct?
So it is currently in effect for K through 8. And so our kids are already dealing with that. And, look, I'm one of those parents who people may scorn me, but my kids are 12 and 8, and they've had a phone for a while now and some iPads. I think the access to technology, the access to that, a lot of information, if you can make that a controlled environment for them, has been really good. But there's times we make them put it down at home, and I think school's definitely one of those places that they have continued to be a problem through the years with teachers not being able to control their classroom and keep the kids engaged. So we passed that last year to go into effect K through 8. I think we will definitely see legislation this year to even take that further. For any high schoolers that may be listening to me this early in the morning, I doubt that. But you could see that go through K through 12 this year, which I think is important. I think as a parent, having access to be able to immediately communicate with my child when you hear about those emergencies is important. So it's not like they can't have it at school. They just have to have it put away and not access it during those critical times of instruction.
I would imagine the rebellion among high school students would be enormous.
I think it will be, but I think there was probably more expectation for the same in middle schools, and from my understanding, talking to teachers and some administrators, really not that big of a deal, and really kids enjoying it. You walk into the cafeteria now, and I've heard teachers say you can hear kids talking again because previously everybody's got their phone out, and now you see people socializing and having conversations, and I think those type skills are just as important as the other curriculum as well.
But they're critical, and employers who try to hire young people and they find out they can't carry a conversation, it makes it almost impossible.
Absolutely.
So, okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more with State Representative Jutt Howard of House District 71 after these words.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy is a vibrant community built on innovation, academic excellence, and a 64-year legacy of shaping community leaders. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, inviting you to visit the mountain and experience firsthand the passion, purpose, and personalized education that defines our school. Come see how our mission and vision come to life each day. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Graddick, your host. We have State Representative Jutt Howard in the studio. Besides being on FM 106.3 and AM 1330, we're on our News Talk 1330 Facebook page and the Graddick Communications YouTube channel, and we're streaming live on our website. We've got an app, and I don't know who's paying for all that stuff, but good luck. Well, now in your district, I understand at least there's the possibility of a data center. So give us the latest skinny or whatever you call it on data centers. Are we still, everybody moving forward? Have there been any real roadblocks? What's it look like for your district?
Sure. So I know just in my district, there have been some discussions of a data center going out near Highway 61. The city, looked at some stuff on rezoning. I'm not up to speed today if that's still on the tracks and moving down the road or where that's at. But I think they have all the technical stuff they need to do that. There was some land acquisitions and things like that they were working on. But I think, when we look at it from a statewide level or even a national level, that much like the internet came along, AI is a new wave of that kind of technology. It's a life-changing technology that's here to stay, and it's going to have a lot of positive things and change our lives in positive ways, and there will be some negative sides of that. I mean, you were talking earlier about what's the long-term job implication and how does AI maybe potentially drive people out of some jobs, but what potential jobs might those create? And a lot of these funded by private equity. I mean, you were talking earlier, you were mentioning is, interesting that where they find the revenue generation through these data centers and through AI in general. I think we've got a lot to learn about, but I think as far from a statewide level, excuse me, they're coming to Georgia. We have, I think, seen a commitment to that from the energy grid and the other resources that they need, that those investments are being made. So on a community level, I think we have to look at it and say, do we want them in our communities or do we not? What are the pros? What are the cons? You hear a lot about the tax revenue that can be generated and are great for communities. So that's sort of where I'm at with it. I think it's a local issue. It's up for people to communicate with their local elected officials and let them know where they're at on it, but keeping in mind that they're coming to Georgia, and whether they're in your community or 10 miles over in another community, your power bill is going to be impacted around the state. Now, there's a 3-year freeze on those right now, and I think ultimately 20 years from now, the investment in the grid and what our energy producers are doing to improve our grid is not just for data centers. It will allow us, as we reshore manufacturing back into the United States, if we have the good, reliable energy grid and we have that capacity, Georgia will be in a great place to be able to compete for those jobs.
Well, so you mentioned industry and manufacturing. You don't have to look any further than Southwire. I mean, the true strength of a community is often found in the manufacturing that's in the community, and we lost so much of it regionally. But thankfully, Southwire stayed here and continues to expand. So AI, data centers, power grid, manufacturing, all this plays together.
Absolutely. And I think, it is no doubt an investment. I know upwards of $15 billion over the next few years just in investments and improvements into the power grid.
But if you can't keep the power grid upgraded, then everybody's electrical costs will go up.
That's right.
So
One, just reliability and not having, blackouts or any of those issues that we see across other states in our country. So reliability and then capacity. And I think when not only AI is looking at our state for that as an industry, but other manufacturers as well in other industries will be able to do that. And like you mentioned, people like Southwire that are great jobs for our community. And so balancing that locally, is a question. But again, I think the effect on a ratepayer has been a concern of mine from up front that that cost should be shared as much by the user that's demanding this increase in energy. And I think we've done a good job in trying to prepare for that with some infrastructure costs and things that they share. But I think it will be an investment that's shared by all Georgians. There's no getting around that. But at the same time, if that's the case, do you want it in your community? Because there are some tremendous positive benefits from it, but if it's over that county line, you're losing those positive benefits, but you're probably still going to face the negative side of any kind of rate increase.
Let's shift gears a bit. Generally, and I think 2026 is no different, when you talk about upcoming session, insurance rates come to the forefront because everybody, insurance has been going up, et cetera, and, tort reform, litigation, et cetera. What do you expect to see on the horizon for the legislature to address insurance rates?
Sure. So I think insurance rates in general is what drove tort reform last year. So we were able to do, I think, what was the first step in bringing balance back to that industry and some consistency there as well, because we have seen rates throughout the state of Georgia just climb and climb. People that have tried to insure a 16-year-old driver in the last few years can understand what we're talking about, because it's almost impossible for that. So, yeah, I think tort reform was a key component in that and bringing some good common sense legislative or litigation controls there. But the next step is looking at the industry of insurance. How do those companies set their rates? How do they determine how that's done? I have a bill that I'm working on for this upcoming session that has to do with insurance in a little bit, not necessarily auto policies, but forced place mortgage insurance. So for some reason you have a mortgage and you miss your homeowner's insurance policy, your mortgage company will go put a place in force, and so they'll put a policy in place for you. But what we've seen in other states and what I've seen in Georgia is where sometimes those mortgage companies and those insurance companies have a mutual beneficial relationship, and that policy they buy for you and then put into your escrow payment is 3x, 4x, 5 times more than what is really fair market. And so this sort of puts some safeguards in place that says there can't be a mutual beneficial relationship there, or that mortgage company and insurance company can't be a subsidiary of each other. So that's a bill that I'm personally working on right now to bring some insurance reform and just good consumer protection.
The American dream is for a young couple to start a family and buy their first house. Is that still possible in Georgia?
I think it is possible. I think throughout the history of the United States, if you really look at it, we have been blessed with a quality of life comparative to the growth of other nations and the amount of time. And you've seen a major growth in that over the last 20 years. And so I think the ability's there. Sometimes I have to drive by high school and look in a parking lot and say, that's not what that looked like when I was 16 years old. And so what are our expectations of the lives that are an entry-level job? What does that entail? What does that look like? But the cost of construction, insurance cost, interest cost, all those things have driven the cost of ownership extremely high in the last 10 years, and I think we're seeing some of that start to come down. But I think the dream is alive, is still there. I think it's what makes our country great, but sometimes we need to understand that we're on a plane there. You can't move into the nicest subdivision immediately.
Yeah, because the family is the core of our society in many ways. And along those same lines, and I'll probably start ranting, property taxes. The state legislatures seem to has dipped their toe into the property tax issue. What along the lines of home acquisition and all of that, what kind of role is state legislature doing in looking at property taxes?
Sure. So two big tax discussions that are being flirted around the Capitol this year. One, continuing to potentially lower or even get rid of the state income tax.
Right.
I believe in that. I think we've done a good job in continuing to lower that. But making up 40 to 50% of the overall revenue intake of the state, you have to find a way to replace that, or you have to extremely cut costs. So, more importantly than me, I think that we can look at property taxes really to impact the Georgia taxpayer and what can really affect their pocketbook. I think it is property taxes, and I'm sort of tied on that one. I definitely believe it's a local issue, and I like to see our local leaders address that. But at the same time, I think the people, other reps, people around the state are looking at some communities and saying, if you can't do this, then we'll protect the taxpayer for you, and we'll put some guardrails in place. So the Speaker has made that a priority of his agenda this year. We haven't seen what legislation exactly is going to look like, but I think definitely some conversations there about doing something on the state level to put in some kind of guardrails on increases, at least for a minimum.
I've made this statement before. I'll get your reaction. We truly don't own property, because if we don't pay our property taxes, the local governing authority will come and seize our property.
And there's a lot of truth to that. So,
okay.
I think it's sort of like zoning rights. I'm a big property rights guy. I think someone ought to, be able to do with what they have. But that's all good till you pass laws. And when you pass laws, then you have a system. And I think that's where we're at with our tax system, is that we are blessed with a lot of great. Sometimes government gets in the way. It wastes money. It does things that we don't need.
Sometimes.
But our government does a lot of things that are well, and we have essential services that the government needs, and we have to be able to fund that. And property taxes are a way of doing that, and there are many other ways of doing that. And I think that's what we're talking about in the legislature this year is what are some other avenues to help run some of our services outside of such a high commitment on our property taxes.
Well, you use the terms essential services. So I think that's part of the debate is what is essential and what is government doing that's non-essential. It's kind of like the non-essential government worker. Then, you can just stay home if you're non-essential.
That's right.
Well, why are we paying for that? Essential is one thing. Non-essential is completely different. Another thing. Can I get an amen?
Amen. I'm very much fiscally responsible,
okay.
conservative,
Fair
and believe
enough.
that
Fair
they're
enough. Okay, we're going to take another break. We'll be back with more with Jutt Howard after this.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Do the math. At Oak Mountain Academy, our average graduating class has just 12 students. We celebrate a 100% graduation rate with more than $10.5 million in college scholarships offered. Plus, 96% of our students are accepted into their top choice college. Do the math. Can you see the value of an OMA education? I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, and I'm here to help you do the math. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Gradick, your host. Let's hit some, we'll call this our lightning round. Anyway, school cameras and school zones. I know that was a topic last year. Did we ever get an outright ban on those?
No, sir. They that sort of ended right in an abrupt end of session last year, so they are still there to be taken up, which I think they will. Personally, I'm, like I said earlier, from school safety point of view, 100% support anything we can do to make those areas safer. I believe the cameras allow our law enforcement officers to go and patrol or be inside the school or where they need to be instead of out writing speed tickets. But at the same time, we have to ensure that these cameras, one, operate efficiently and at the times that they're supposed to, and people are aware of what the rules and regs are and the times. But I think they're a positive thing.
Last year, we didn't really get full resolution on DEI in public universities. Is that going to be back on the table? I
think it will be. I think, looking at a lot of these policies that may have been intended for good equality may sometimes have the opposite effect. So I think looking at those and is going to be another.
I think last year we had a lot of controversy. I think the Democrats walked out of the chamber regarding funding or limiting doctors' abilities to prescribe puberty blockers to minors and state tax dollars going for gender-affirming care, et cetera. Is that going to be another hot topic?
I hope that my friends across the aisle have come to reason that Georgia taxpayers entrust us with their money, but spending it to fund a sex change on a state inmate in state prison, I don't think is wise spending of that money. I support someone to be able to do with what they want with their own money they've earned, but I'm going to be a little more trusting of my state taxpayers' dollars than to fund that kind of programs for state inmates. But it was unfortunate that that's the kind of issues that you see them get up and walk out on, that kind of issue that you would think everyone can agree with.
Medicaid's been a topic for several years. Probably don't expect anything done there.
I think there's some consideration of expansion there. I think there's things on both sides that each party's looking for to do that. But again, I think Georgia's in a good place under Governor Kemp with the programs that we have right now that have worked, and I believe I'm personally okay with doing for those who cannot do for themselves. But if we have able-bodied working Georgians who are on those support systems, right, they need to be working.
20 hours a week, et cetera. Any positive thoughts about fentanyl and the drug with all that's going on at the federal level, the positive results for the state of Georgia?
Sure. So one of the key legislation that we passed last year was making fentanyl and trafficking that through the state of Georgia a serious offense. There were some loopholes there, so we tightened down that. But I think it's imperative that we do whatever we can to control the drug situation here in the United States. Is it going to be solved just by Venezuela alone? No. Is it going to be solved by a border wall alone? No. But I think having good DAs and prosecuting crimes, having good law enforcement, doing the things on the national level we need to do, or put all that together, we can combat this issue.
We started out talking about this being a political year, and my mailbox already has two flyers regarding Burt Jones running for governor. What's your thoughts on the inundation that we will have on this year from that kind of effort?
Well, I think I already felt like it was going to be a big election year, and with a few other key races during the last few months, I think it's opened a few more eyes on how close some of these races might be statewide. So I think we will be inundated, but I'm just encouraging everybody, you need to get out and vote. It's going to be one of those years that if you're happy with the way our state sits right now and you're happy with the leadership that we have and how things go, you need to get involved now in doing what we can do to get the word out that November of 26 will be one of the biggest elections we've had in the state. And we hear that over and over and over again, but it is true because it's becoming much, much closer that we need to protect the leadership that we got in the state of this.
If a constituent wants to get in touch with you, how should they go about it?
Sure. So you can give me a call. We're in the farm business, NG Turf, so you can find me down in Whitesburg in my office there. Go to my website, jutthoward.com is my political webpage.
And Jutt is J-U-T-T, which is short for Justin.
For Justin. My brother's 2 years older than I am, so when I was born, he could say Jutt, and that sort of stuck. So
Jutt
brother
Howard,
named me.
jutthoward.com. Well, thank you for coming in. We look forward to having you back, hopefully maybe even during the session, but immediately thereafter. So, and we thank you for listening, and go out and make it a great day. You're in tune to WLBB Carrollton.
National headlines.